Welcome, people. Good to see you all. To those who listen also to recording. Um, really didn't know what to speak about today. It's in my usual dilemma, what to say. Um, I had one phrase in my mind. It's not a foreign phrase or something I haven't spoke about before, but it was just this phrase, do everything with love, or everything must be done with love. What does this mean? Also reminded me of a saying by a great Sufi master, uh, Maulana Sheikh Nazim, who said, um, an ounce or an atom's worth of love is far greater than 70 years of worship or prayer without love. Far greater. An atom is worth more than 70 years of whatever it is, worshipping some god, some deity, some guru, meditating in a very dry, routine, mechanical way, or any of these kind of things. So, and I also want to read one. I found one nice quote as well by Hafez as well, another good Sufi master. I want to read. But what does it mean to do things with love, and why is this so important? So, love is the essence of existence. It's one of the qualities when we talk about consciousness, when we talk about God, when we talk about reality, when we talk about the source, any of these things, whatever this thing is that we're talking about, whatever this thing is that we're pointing to, it has many different qualities through which it expresses itself. When we get on the path, maybe we meet a master or a guru, and we can't perceive what this person's state is. We can't perceive what their consciousness is, what their way of perceiving is, but sometimes we can get a flavor through various aspects. We can perceive some of these qualities. We may perceive love, we may perceive bliss, we may perceive silence, we may perceive equanimity, we may perceive a fearless flow of expression. So these aspects, these qualities are kind of the fragrances of what we're talking about as reality or consciousness or the truth or God. And love, when we talk about love, this sweetness, it's also one of these qualities. So when we say to do things with love, we're also saying do things in a conscious way, do things in a way that aligns you with that truth, with consciousness, with God, or whatever you want to call it. So when we're talking about doing things with love, we're not talking about, that when we speak to people, we have to say loads and loads of kind, sweet words. We have to call everybody dear and darling, and we have to be super polite, and that's not the point, because we can also do those kinds of things without love. We can do those kinds of things because we want to get something from somebody. We can do those kind of things because we want to make a a good impression or because we want to come across a certain way. The love, the loving action is precisely the opposite of that kind of action. The loving action is action without calculation, without analysis. It's action, it's a way of being, a way of doing, a way of moving in the world that hasn't been run through all of these processes, of doubt, of fear, of wondering what this person will think, wondering what that person will think. The loving action, doing things with love, it doesn't go through any processes, you know. It's like a food that has just come out the ground organically. There's no crap in it, no GMO stuff, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial sugars, anything like this. It's just like the pure fruit. So to do something with love, it's not like, okay, here's what I've got to do. Let me do it with love. So let me put loads of sugar on top and let me make a big false smile or this kind of things. No, doing things with love is it's it's a way of being, right? And first of all, this way of being, doing things with love is honesty. Honesty has to be there. So we have to first be honest about what we want, what we really like, what we really don't like, what we really want to do, how we really feel, right? Because we've all got this. We've all come here, we've all got some things that we really like. We've got some things that feel meaningful to us. We've got some things that we naturally connect to. We've got some people that we naturally connect to. All of these things are not random, arbitrary things. These things are important. Anything that brings that kind of importance to that meaning, you said this thing is important to me, this thing is precious to me, this thing is sacred to me. These things should be the cornerstones around which we build and which we live our life, right? Because if this is our life we're living, we're not living somebody else's life. We're not living life that mother wanted us to live, that father wanted us to live, what or whatever family priest or guru or mentor wanted us to live, or the life that our friendship group wanted us to live, or our boss wanted us to live, or whatever like this. We're living our life. This life that we live, it has to have something in it that makes it ours. You know, some people, especially now also, some people live in such a way that, you can't find anything of them in the way they live. Right? I'm sure this has been in films as well, maybe and stuff, but some people, even the way they dress, what clothes they wear, for instance, they say, okay, what's fashionable at the moment? This is fashionable. Okay, let me dress like that. What is the nice, fashionable way to decorate the home at the moment? Okay, let me decorate it like that. What is this? What's in fashion in this way? What's in fashion in that way? What's the culturally appropriate way to be at the moment? Is the culturally appropriate to be feminist at the moment? Is it culturally appropriate to be right wing at the moment? Which which one is it? So some people they live their life in this way. They look outside for ways to be instead of simply thinking, what do I like? What do I love? What do I naturally feel about this issue, about this thing, about this person? And if you ever meet, I don't want to cast aspersions, but if you ever meet somebody like this who's kind of constructed their life in a very artificial way, very mechanical way, or maybe it's they've done it this way from the parents. Parents have said, look, you need to study this, and you need to get this job, and you need to get married, and you need to have children. This is what you need to do with the money, and so on and so on. Some people like this can have really the life strangled out of them. And when you meet somebody like this, it can be like you don't know who you're actually talking to. You don't know who this person is. You don't know what they believe in, what they're passionate about. They might say, look, I believe in this. They might say, look, I'm passionate about this. They might say, this is who I am. They might say, this is this is who I love. This is my whatever husband and wife who they love when they don't feel anything about this person at all. People actually live their life like this. And you can meet such people and very forgettable, no matter what kind of external achievements are there, no matter how apparently successful or perfect such people are. And then you can meet other people who can be quite imperfect, quite messy, quite all over the place. I mean, their life can be like a wrecking ground, gone in many different directions, failed, had some failures here, had some successes there, confusions here, clarity there. And you can meet some people like this and you feel straight away, this is a real person. I know who this person is. This person shows who they are when you start interacting with them. And when they say, look, I believe in this, when they say, I like this person, when they say, I love this person, when they say, I'll do this thing, trust me, I'll do it. You believe them. You feel that this, whatever they say, whatever words they say, whatever actions they do, that these things have a deep root inside themselves, right? This is very clear in speech. If you listen to most politicians speak, you won't find any deep roots usually to what they're saying. Everything is very calculated to what to what people want to hear and how they can scam people to voting for them or electing them or this and that. They never just come out and say, "Hey, look, this is how it is," or "Look, I've fucked up here. Look, I made a complete mess of this." We never see this kind of thing. And some people, even though they might not have the career, job title, politician, they can have that personality of being a politician. You never know what they think. You never know what they really think. You don't know who they are, right? This is the opposite of living in that loving way, right? Living in a loving way means you actually live in an authentic way. You go after what's important to you. When you meet people, you communicate who you are, you show who you are. It doesn't mean you start emptying out all your, rubbish on people after 5 minutes of meeting them, but you're genuine with people, you're honest with people. When someone wants you to do something, if you do it, if you say, okay, I'll do it, you do it because you really want to do it. Not because you think, okay, I want to please this person, or not just to think, okay, this would be a good thing to do. This would be a good thing to make me look like a good person, or this would be a good thing to make me look spiritual, or this would be good for my career, or whatever. Right. So to to do things with love doesn't mean we're injecting this artificial sweetness onto everything. It means we're honest. We communicate. We live in an honest way. We show what we think. We show what we feel. Right. We're afraid to make mistakes in life by going after what's important to us, going after what we really want. We don't live in such a way where we're constantly thinking in every situation, what can I do in this situation to protect myself? What can I do to eliminate all possible ways that I might be humiliated or rejected, or that I might lose something? There's no love in that way of living. That's fear, living through fear. And there's no spiritual there's no spiritual life when fear is there. The what we call the spirituality, the love, it runs away. When you meet somebody like that, who lives like that, who will call a spade, who will say, yes, I made a mistake there, sorry about it, who will tell you what they think. Maybe you're doing something stupid, you're doing something they don't like, and they just tell you. These people, you'll notice, if you meet people like this, you may, if you're like me anyway, you'll start feeling, I like this person. Where does that come from? Maybe you even say, I love this person. They're fantastic. Where does this come from? Why? Why do we like this person? We may meet somebody else through whatever. They tell us everything that they want to hear, everything that they think we want to hear. They tick all the boxes of what we usually like or usually looking for in people. Maybe we got some other kind of work relationship or something. They do everything perfect. Maybe they even give us stuff, give us compliments, whatever. And we may never get this feeling within ourselves. I like this person. Right. We may even start to think, oh, this person is so annoying. Right. So it's not the surface aspects that are important in these matters. When we're looking at love, when we're talking about love, it's not the surface aspect that's important. It's not the words, the actions. It's where these things come from, what these things are rooted in. That determines where the love is. Now, when it comes to love in spiritual sense, with worshipping and all these things, meditating, look, I had to work as, well, not had to, I worked as priest for 1 year up at MCB in this temple. I saw people coming in, seeing Baba, Shirdi Baba. And You can see straight away within 1 second when people put their hands together like this, or people do their bowing down when they do their sashtanga namaskar, or they do that prayer thing that they do in front of Ganapati when they touch their ears, all this kind of stuff. If you're sensitive, you can see within 1 second whether there's love in this, what they're doing, or they're just doing this because this is what you're supposed to do. I am born into, not me, but born into whatever it is, Hindu family, Indian family, and this is what we do when we go in temples. And you see people doing this and you don't feel anything. It's just like a robot acting. And this is not just in, I don't just want to pick on religious people. This is in all aspects of life. People have these mechanical ways of being. I am such and such a person. I come from this and this kind of family, this and this kind of religion, this and this kind of culture. And in this situation, this is what I do, this is what we do. Right. Occasionally, occasionally with this job I was doing with this priest, you would very, very, very rarely you'd see somebody that would come to um, the deity or whatever, or Baba or one of the other deities, and they'd actually have love in their eyes, right? And when you'd see people expressing like this, it would move you. It would touch something within you. When you see them just doing in the mechanical way, it touches nothing, moves nothing, right? Just when some people speak about spirituality and they just repeat what they've heard in the book, what do you feel? Nothing. Wasted, wasted words, waste of breath, right? Same. If there's no love in it, then what's this? Wasted hands coming together. If there's no love in it, wasted throwing yourself on the floor, bowing down. I even saw people do Tamanji like this, doing coming into the room, doing Sashtang, Namaskar. Nothing in it. Nothing in it. And I see even then he didn't also respond. Someone did it straight down, did it. He didn't respond. They got up, carried on, started talking about something else. But you can see if you're a person like this who does things with feeling, who lives with feeling, you can see when people do things without feeling. So this was not an example that I planned to use, but now I'm very happy that it came to me. I'm very happy that the gods gave me this nice example from my own experience, because maybe other people can relate to it. Or just when you see people doing something which is supposedly a loving thing, a devoted thing, even to you, giving you something, giving you a gift or giving you a compliment or whatever. But you can feel when the heart is not there, the heart is not in it. So, what I'm saying with this doing things with love, if you need to do something and there's no, it's just something you need to do, it's part of, the routine of love, then don't pretend. Don't pretend to do it with love, right? Save that for the things you do enjoy, you do like, and then do them with love, do them with full passion, right? So, whatever we do, however we do things, we must be fully there as we are, right? Fearlessly. A lot of people who get into these modes grow up like this. They're indoctrinated into this. The parents indoctrinate them into this. Like this, what I was saying at the temple. These kids, the parents tell them, look, if you want to please God, you have to go in and you have to do this, and this. These people don't even know what God is. So they're indoctrinating these children to do this mechanical movements to please a God that they're not even acquainted with. So what are they doing? They're bending these children out of shape. Child in its natural shape might say, well, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to go into the temple? Why do I have to put my hands together like this? Why do I have to throw myself on the floor? Parents might say, don't worry about the why, just do it. This is what we do. And when that natural curiosity goes from a child, let's say, when that natural rebelliousness goes to say, I don't want to do this. I don't enjoy this. This seems like a bullshit for me. I've got my own things I enjoy. I've got the own things. When that goes, that when that element goes, then the life is lost. There's no life in you anymore. Useless in terms of life, in terms of living things, right? And this happens. This happens. People get bent out of shape and they get put in some artificial shape and they're incredibly stiff, stiff when moving, stiff when speaking, stiff when dancing, stiff in all possible ways. Because love is always flowing, right? Because it's new in each moment. What you've got to say is new in each moment because it's the actual thing that's coming from the source, that's coming from the heart. And this way of being through thought, through conditioning, through programming, through indoctrination, it can never, it's not fast enough. It can't keep up with this loving expression. If you ever see someone really speak their mind, really speak from the heart to somebody who's got this kind of way of being, they don't, it's like they're speaking another language to them. They don't know how to deal with it. Because that language of programming, of dead things, of parents said this, culture said this, guru said this, all of this stuff, it's old, it's of the past. This is not fast enough to keep up with life as it is, right? So you you've got the key inside you. That life is speaking, that life is flowing. You just need to catch a hold of it and start surfing on it. And then you'll start to see, oh, life is easy actually. Nothing is awkward. Nothing is difficult. I just be how I am, I say how I am, and then I accept what happens, right? Instead of trying to fit something in that doesn't fit. Very sad actually when I when I remember these scenes in the temple when I was there. That's why the of course the odd one you get, they come tears in the eyes, beautiful. But for me, that's not enough to make it worth seeing all this indoctrinated people and children getting indoctrinated and all this kind of stuff. Some people would come in this temple sometimes when I was there with young kids, and the young kids would be going crazy, running around, doing this, doing that, making loads of noise. And sometimes the parents would, try and I'd say they don't need the temple. They, they've still got it, right? They've still got life within them. They don't need to pray for life to enter back into them, for the divine spirit to enter into them, for the kundalini to wake. They don't need to pray for this. They've got it. Look at them. Look at the brightness in the eyes. Look at the movement. Look at the flowingness. Look at the not thinking, fearlessness, not thinking what people think about them. They've still got it, right? So now I'm more in this mode of spirituality, being like a child, however that is. See what Hafez has to say about this matter. It's from old book of mine. I saw I looked at what I was using for a bookmark and I realized it's like 10 years something since I've opened this. 8 years, maybe seven. And Hafez says about this matter. Now is the time to know that all that you do is sacred. Now, why not consider a lasting truce with yourself and God? Now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels to be laid aside when you can finally live with veracity and love. Hafez is a divine envoy whom the beloved has written a holy message upon. My dear, please tell me, why do you still throw sticks at your heart and God? What is it in that sweet voice inside that incites you to fear? Now is the time for the world to know that every thought and action is sacred. This is the time for you to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the season to know that everything you do is sacred. This is very beautiful. This is quite fantastic. See, now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels to be laid aside when you can finally live with veracity and love. What's veracity? English speakers. Honesty, truth, integrity. When can we live like that? When can we be like children again? When can we let go of this stiffness, inherited stiffness that sticks to us like because of fear, right? Fear alone. Another one I liked from this, put a new bookmark in this. It's from this earlier. Yeah, this is really good. It says, I think we are frightened every moment of our lives until we know Him. Him being God in this case. He says, I think we are frightened every moment of our lives until we know Him. What does it mean to know Him? Knowing a man in the sky, knowing an image, knowing some God that's in a story, some God that's on a painting. Knowing Him is knowing ourselves, is knowing who we are as that, as that essence of existence. And how do we get to that? How do we get to that? Can we live this programmed life, safe life, acceptable life, life that we've been shown, life that we've just been handed? Society, parents, culture, they've just said, oh, this is the way to live. Do it. Everything will be fine. This is the way to live. Do it. Just we think we can reach to that just by living this second-hand life that's been handed to us, and we live it without any trace of ourselves. We bury who we are. We bury what we actually like. We bury what we don't like. That kind of person can realize that? Not at all. Each action that cements them in that stiffness is like a step away, 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 away from realizing that, from realizing that we are that, we are Him, we are God, we are part of that Lord of the heart, Lord of love, right? To to get to that, to get to that deepest essence of ourselves, we first have to perfect and fully honor the other aspects of ourselves that may not seem mystical, may not seem to be, fantastic in that way that, oh, wow, now, blah, 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 non-duality, this and that, blah, 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 whatever. We we can't get to that until we're fully embodied within our individuality, fully comfortable in ourselves, fully comfortable in our way of being, fully comfortable with our past, our traumas, our doubts, our fears, our uniqueness, our natural way of being, our natural way of interacting with people. Until we fully own all of that, possess all of that, know ourselves fully, and know the areas where we haven't fully been ourselves, know when we've made decisions that were against our heart, what we really wanted, that we were too scared to pursue. All of this has to be excavated, understood, seen, accepted. Then we have to start living like that, living with that love, living with that vulnerability. And that takes us to Him. That takes us to the Lord of the heart, right? So it's not just like we live like everybody else lives, and then one day some lucky people wake up and they're like, "Oh, I am, I am Lord of the Heart." No, it doesn't work like that. Every day you have to live in a more and more and more authentic way, honest way to yourself, right? And this can mean destruction sometimes. Because imagine these people that get indoctrinated like this, programmed like this at a young age. What happens then? The whole life, they build the whole life upon that programming. Everything after that is based on that programming. The education, the friends, the marriage, the children, or whatever, the kind of superficial religious activities, superficial spiritual activities, all of it is based on program. It's like when you see it in the movies sometimes. They turn around and say, I've been living a lie. I've been living a lie. Right. In an absolute sense, you know, we're all living a lie until we wake up and realize that we are that, we are Him. But before we get to that point, we have to, as much as we can, as much as we can within our powers, we can't just click our fingers and wake up and realize I am God, I am Lord. Okay. We can't do it. It takes time. With our own powers, with our own understanding, with our own observation, we have to live as truthfully as possible to ourselves. And if we're coming from a point where we've taken other people's ideas, we've lived superficially, we've lived a program life, this will mean destruction. This will mean things break, things come apart, things don't last. It means we stop doing one thing and we go another way. Some people like this, I think my generation especially do this. So they say, "Oh, I'm doing this and that job I've worked past 10 years plus all the university time, and I never really wanted to do. I did this job because I thought this is what I'm supposed to do, but I'm miserable. I'm unhappy. I don't like this." And some of these people have sweated since they're teenagers for this career. Some of these, the courageous ones, they throw it away. They say, "Okay, forget about it. I go and do something that I like doing. I go traveling a bit to find myself, and then I reassess the whole situation." This is not easy to do. This is scary. My life has been made of one situation after situation after situation like this, through constantly things breaking down and starting again. But that's what it actually looks like. So some people, even they say they want the spiritual path or whatever, they say they want liberation, whatever, they're not ready for this level of destruction in one lifetime. More lifetimes will be necessary, because to not everyone can accept that certain things falling apart, certain things not lasting. Certain things people can't accept that, oh, if that falls apart, if the job falls apart or the marriage falls apart, then it looks like I've failed. But thing is, if it is like that, if it is something has failed with whatever job or marriage or something. Yes, something has, say you've got into something without fully understanding yourself, or you've got into something without fully seeing yourself, or you've got into something and things have just changed. There's no failure or no failure in this. People like to sell things in life as if they're permanent. Nothing is permanent. So if we want liberation, we want all these things, then all this ordinary aspects of life, work, the relationships, all these things, positions, possession, all these things having even a shred, a trace of permanence, we have to forget about. Because if we cling to the permanence of these things, we don't allow things to fall apart when they need to fall apart, then we remain stuck to these things till the very end, and we die, and that's it. We're still not free. So not everyone can go through this kind of destruction, which may happen on this path. If we still want to keep something together, just okay, let me get liberated, let me get dissolved, but let me just keep control over this little thing. Let me just keep control of this area. No, it doesn't work like that. Fine. If you want to live like a normal person, doesn't matter, but then don't talk about liberation and all this nonsense. That is a state. Control is finished. If you get into that state, your life will not be your own at all. Then all that you've got, what God gives you, that's all you've got. What God takes away, you can't even say anything. You can't even mutter the smallest complaint, right? Nothing. You totally, totally, totally surrendered, totally, totally, totally submitted to whatever you want to call it. What happens, will of life, will of God, whatever. Whatever he takes, whatever he destroys, whatever, doesn't matter. Only then when you've become so surrendered, so submitted, so silent inside yourself, so obedient to the winds of life, only then can you merge into that one. As this big character full of control, controlling ideas, full of fears, full of ego, full of pride, you can't merge with anything. As that person, you stay there on your own as an individual, and you walk as an individual, you against the world. And that's how you'll live, and that's how you'll die, like that. If you want to merge with God, reality, Lord of the heart, you've got to become small, you've got to become subtle, you've got to become invisible. And the way to do that is to be natural, because there's no effort in being natural. It's the easiest thing. Someone asks you, what do you think? Guess what? You tell them. You tell them what you think. Someone asks you, how are you? Guess what? You tell them how you are. All, everything becomes this simple. You wake up in the morning, what do you do? Guess. You do what you want to do. Fine, you might have to go to work, yeah, but you want to eat, right? Yeah. So you've got to go to work or whatever. Otherwise, outside that, you do what you want to do. When we live like this, the mind becomes very, 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 very small because there's not much to think about. Everything's obvious, everything's natural, everything's effortless. This is how it is. And then we shrink, 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 shrink. And then we might be able to get through the gate and merge with the Lord of the heart, as it were. Anyway, I think I've said my piece. I'll just say that last quote one more time because I like it. I think we are frightened every moment of our lives until we know him. So, question is to go forward, how to live in such a way where we're not frightened, where fearlessness is increasing every day. Real fearlessness, not fearlessness based on, look, now I've made myself safe, now I've made myself secure, now I've made myself protected. None of these things. Fearlessness that let what happens happen. Let what comes come. Let what goes goes. That's the fearlessness that we're talking about. That's the fearlessness that we need on this path and in life if we want to go in that direction of expanding and opening up and all these things. So I've said my piece. I didn't know what to say as usual, but the saying happened. This is what this is one of the, I think, the perks of what I'm trying to sell to everybody here of being natural is that you can speak like this because I come on and I say if I don't know what to say, I say okay, sorry guys, I don't know what to say, and then some by and by something comes, whether clever or not so clever, and then for the rest of the time I just say what comes to my mind and I say what I think without worrying about what anybody thinks. Very easy, very simple way of being, and it works. So this is one of the perks of what I'm trying to sell everybody here. But yeah. Anyway, um, good to see you all who came. Um, Sending you all love and blessings and wishing you a good week ahead, rest of Sunday. So be well, be happy, be natural, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.